How to control roaches. This is a common question that we get asked, and before we talk about some of the products that we use or that we recommend, then I would like to talk about some of the ways that you can prevent things from coming into your house and the ways that you can stop or maybe identify a problem before it gets really out of hand. Now, one of the things that we saw in 2020 when everybody was at home, a lot of people were ordering boxes and ordering online different things, and a lot of those boxes were coming to the front door and not making it out the back door. And so we weren't recycling, we weren't doing getting rid of those boxes. A lot of times it seemed like they were just piling up. And a lot of times roaches love the glue that holds those cardboard boxes together. And warehouses that we buy our stuff from online often don't do pest control on every single product in the warehouse. And so what can happen is things can sit there for a long time, or those boxes can sit there for a long time. And because roaches like that glue so much, they are attracted to that. And so whenever we do purchase something and it comes up to our house, we may not know or may not be aware that we're bringing in things that way. Now, that's not the only way that roaches come in. Facebook Marketplace has exploded, and a lot of times buying and selling and different things, garage sales is another thing that people go and purchase other items or just off the side of the road, and bringing those things into the home, not knowing or not inspecting that there may be something already there. Now, this could be the case for bed bugs or roaches. It is possible for that to be on there. And so we do want to make sure that whenever we're bringing something inside of the house, that we're looking at what is in that and making sure that if we don't need to keep the box or if we're not going to use it for something in the future, go ahead and get rid of it and do whatever you need to do as far as the recycling or disposing of that in the future. But if we're purchasing something or bringing something into the home, like a piece of furniture, then pull the drawers out, open the doors, turn it upside down, look all around it, wipe it down with whatever cleaning products you use. We use a lot of essential oils here at our house, and it does seem to help with a lot of that. We do a lot of Facebook Marketplace here, and so that does seem to help with keeping a lot of those down. Now, there's times where you get spiders and all kinds of stuff, but making sure that those are wiped down, vacuum them off real good, that can go a long way. But if something has made it in and you're not doing all of the Facebook Marketplace or you're not purchasing a lot of things online, there's this much, very small chance that even some natural or organic food stores have kind of the same thing, where something may sit on a shelf in a warehouse somewhere, and that could just be the box, not the product itself, but the box could be sitting somewhere in a warehouse, and then it's delivered to the store, and then we take it home, and that's where it comes from. Going to different places that may have some of those scenarios where there's not pest control done on every single item. That can be what causes roaches to come in. And so having a roach infestation is not necessarily a reflection of the individual or the home. We've seen roaches in homes that are worth millions of dollars, and we've also seen roaches in a shed that's falling apart, and just piles of boxes or wood or whatever in there, and we've seen it everything in between. Now, I know that roaches are nasty, they're disgusting, they're very unclean, but that doesn't mean that you are. It doesn't mean that your home is. It just means that it came in with something else. And so how do you get rid of roaches? How do you control them in and around your home? Now, I can tell you a lot of the secrets of pest control and the things that we use, and by and large, those are going to be a lot better than the things that you can get at the store. And it's not that any product at the store is not going to work. I don't want to portray that, because that's not the case. Things that you get at the store, it says on the label when you pick it up off the shelf, controls roaches or it kills roaches. They can only put that on the label if it works. And a lot of times, if it's got one bug on the label, it takes like $1 million worth of research to get it there, which is crazy to think about. But it does take time and money and research, resources to even get something like that on a label. Now, I will say this, that just because it does kill roaches doesn't mean it's the best thing to kill roaches. A cannonball will kill a roach, but that's not going to kill everything that's behind the wall, or if there's an infestation in the plumbing voids or underneath and behind a refrigerator. And so you're not taking cannonballs and lobbing it at each and every cockroach that you see, because that's not really going to kill or control the whole infestation. And I use that example because a lot of times the things that you get from the store the brick and mortar stores. I'm not trying to name or blast any one of them. It's just the reality that a lot of times those products, the way that they work is kind of like a repellent. You spray it down and you apply it, and it scurries them. It gets them scared. They sense that it's there. They smell that it's there, and they try to get away as quick as they can. And whenever you do that, you spray it in one area, and it scares them off to another. And now you're chasing them around the house for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you're still not getting any relief. Sure, you see those that are dead, but there's still more coming, and they're from a different area. And now they're, instead of coming up out of the ground and from underneath the countertops, are coming from the ceiling, and it's not really something that we recommend doing. We want you to be mindful of those things before purchasing a lot of products over the counter or that are easily accessible because of those reasons. Now, if it's just one or two coming in, obviously that's great. That works perfect in those scenarios. But how do you know if it's not an overall infestation? Some of the things to look for is in corners, underneath cabinets, underneath countertops, behind your refrigerator is a really good indicator. If you see a lot of brown spots, a lot of times it looks like almost like salt and pepper. If salt and pepper was one color, we'll try to find a picture and show it with this. But really, when you pull that refrigerator back or you get underneath your microwave, if you see a lot of those brown speckles, and again, it does look like salt and pepper if salt and pepper was just one solid color as far as brown, sometimes even tan, but a lot of that is an indication if you have an infestation. And more than likely you would already know, right? I mean, if you're seeing 10, 20, 50 of them at a time, yes, there is definitely a need for a treatment to be done there. But if it's just one here and 6 months later you see another one, chances are that you've just got something that's in passing. Whether it's maybe needing an exterior treatment to kind of keep those things out of the house. But if you're seeing it once or twice a day, or if you're seeing multiple at different times, then I would certainly recommend a treatment at that point. Now, to tell you some of our secrets and some of the things that we do is we go in and we use about 4 different products. And the reason why we use different products is because you don't want roaches to build up tolerance to those products. Now, that sounds like a contradictory statement because I've got a story for you. And if you stick around to the end, I'll tell you what that story is. But we try to use 4 different products, and one of those is a spray. 2 of them are sprays. One works kind of like a virus, and you apply it, and whenever one roach comes in contact with it, as they travel along, it spreads that virus or that product to other roaches. They, in turn, spread it to other roaches, and it's just this huge domino effect. And that does a really good job at controlling things, not only what's visible right now, and not only what you see right now, but they go behind the walls, and as they travel along, they're spreading this product to areas that you couldn't get to normally. And so that's one product that we use, and another product that we use with it is called an IGR. It's an insect growth regulator. And what this does is it really knocks down that curve of reproduction. So while you're treating, obviously they're still living life and they're trying to grow their families and different things. And so if you're not careful, then you have this continual battle. And yes, it's going lower and lower and lower, but with an insect growth regulator, it knocks that curve way down a lot faster. And so you get a lot better control a lot quicker. Now, the products that we use, Alpine WSG is one of those. That is what's considered as a non-repellent. So the exact opposite of what you would get over the counter at the store. They don't know they're in it until they're dead. Now, they're spreading this as they go along, and they're sharing it with each roach as they move along their day-to-day business. And with the insect growth regulator, obviously once that gets on them, they cannot, whenever they reproduce, those cannot reproduce. They can't get to that stage to have more roaches. So again, you definitely take that curve in control. Now, 2 other products that we use is CB80, which is a flushing agent, and there's multiple different ones out there, as well as even the Alpine and Nygaard is the insect growth regulator that we use. Those 2 combined, we use that as a spray in some designated areas in and around a home. But CB80 is a flushing agent, so this is something that you can spray back into the plumbing voids, and that disturbs the actual nest, the colony, where they're hanging out most of the time. And that does a great job. It does stir them up. So if you're going to use CB80, make sure and be mindful of that. But that does cause them to flush out, and that's where it gets the name flushing agent. And so that's what causes them to stir up and get out of there. It does not leave a residual. And so this is where we come by with one of those 4th products, and that is Delta Dust. And really, a lot of your dusts that you can use as insecticides in cracks and crevices or in plumbing voids is going to be is going to be a great treatment because that gets back behind everything, but that leaves a residual that as they're going along, they come in contact with and die. CB80 as a flushing agent does not leave a residual. It kills on contact. Once it's dry, it's gone. It helps with a lot of other things like wasp nest and different things, but for this application, it does a great job at getting the bulk of what is active behind the wall already knocked down. And time. Before we go any further in the video, I do think it's important to note that all of the products that we've talked about thus far, they're all available to you online. And we've listed some of the pricing there so that way you can get a feel for it. But I also wanted to mention that most companies charge an extra rate or an extra fee for roach treatments. We don't. We believe that this is something that sets us apart from our competition. This is all a part of our regular maintenance program in pest control. I also think it's important to note that these are the exact products that we use in this treatment process for roaches. But if you have any questions about this, or if you have any questions about what we've talked about, then obviously give us a call and let us know what we can do for you. Back to the video. The fifth product that we use is Advion roach gel. We're talking about roaches. Advion roach gel. And so now keep in mind, with all of these products, we're not doing every single one of these at the same time. You do need to space these out and use them and according to their label and how they work together. You don't want to get it all wet and then use Delta Dust. And you don't want to use Delta Dust just everywhere. You want to be strategic with that, and you want to follow the label. One thing that you'll hear over and over and over again with any kind of pesticide is the label is the law. So whatever the label says, how you mix it, how you apply it, how you need to be dressed and prepared, what clothes you need to wear as far as protective equipment, all of that needs to go into play before ever getting these products. You can research them and do all of the research on what needs to be done by reading those labels online before ever purchasing that and using it yourself. But Advion cockroach gel is one of our favorite products. Now, this isn't a biased opinion, right? Because this is something that we use. But it's not a secret product. Anybody can access this. And I can't tell you how many times we've had customers come to us to pick up where another company left off. They couldn't get it under control, and they were doing something that just wasn't working. They weren't seeing any results. And even here recently, and we'll try to share the testimonial with this as well, somebody was just blown away by the attention to detail that our technician was showing at the time of treatment, because the company that they had before was in and out in 5 minutes, and our treatment was taking like 30 or 40 minutes. And that's on a good one. I mean, that sometimes it can take longer than that. But you do want to make sure that you're doing a good inspection and a good treatment with all of this. And so as a pest management professional or as a pest control technician, you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And if you're a homeowner doing this, then you definitely want to make sure that you're mindful of these products, how to use them, how to inspect, and how to apply these products in the right way that's not going to harm you or your family, but yet still get control over roaches. So Advion roach gel is a great product. One of the things that I would like to mention to you, and this is a crazy story, was in a class that we had, they were telling us, and I've never experienced something this bad before in my life, but they had one of those sticky boards. You know, those sticky boards are like this, right? And on one sticky board, they caught 1,700 roaches. They went in there and counted. It was over 1,700 roaches on one sticky board. And this was from one room and an apartment complex. And the whole complex was infested with roaches. Now, this was a specialized effort organized to control them. And Advion roach gel was coming to take care of this. Or the company was coming to take care of this. And they were using this specifically. And they did no sprays. They did no dust. They did no flushing agents. They only used this bait. Now, the value of that statement is, earlier I said, you don't want to use just one product because you build up tolerance. Now, there's different factors there, right? If this is lasting years and years and years, and you're only using the same product, they're going to build up tolerance to that. But this is something that they used every single day, or every other day, or every so many days in a week, and they set up this program, and they went in there and used this product. It took 6 months. But they got rid of all of their roaches. They did not have to spray once, and they did not have to impact any of the tenants that lived in that apartment complex. And so the reason why I wanted to tell that story is because as a homeowner, and if you have a family and you're dealing with roaches, it is controllable. It is possible to get those under control. And I want you to know that from a pest control standpoint, it is possible to get those under control. But what can happen is whenever there's a time where a product over the counter is used, or even a product that a company uses that's not designed for roaches, or let's say it is designed for roaches, but it's a repellent. And so what can happen is if that repellent is used and get fed up and they go with another company and another company comes in and they're using a non-repellent, what can happen is it's kind of like taking NyQuil and a Red Bull at the same time. You have this huge conflict going on. You get drowsy, you get energetic. You get drowsy, energetic. And you have the same thing happening with the control of roaches. Yes, both of them will kill roaches, but they both have different methods of action. And so whenever you have that conflict of wanting to control the roaches by one direction and wanting to control them by another, you never really get full control over them by using those tactics. And a lot of times those products have a residual, and that residual, the amount of time that product stays active on that surface, sometimes that's 30 days, sometimes that's 90 days, sometimes that's 6 months, sometimes it's a year. So you really want to be mindful of the things that you purchase and the things that you use from the store or from online or even a pest control company. What does this do? How does it interact? These are some good questions to ask anybody that's coming to your house to complete this service, because if they can't tell you, probably be a good indication to find either someone else or find out the answer. And so if they can't do it for you right there, if they can't get a hold of their supervisor, then it might be time to find somebody that does know what they're talking about and can provide you with the answers that you need. Now, again, this is all biased opinion because this is the way that we do things. There's thousands of products out there that work for roaches. There's hundreds of different methods out there that work to control roaches. You're just hearing my opinion and CityTurf's approach to controlling roaches. But I can tell you that this has worked for us. I can tell you that we've had companies call us because they've gotten frustrated with other options. And another story, if you have the time, is we had started this process with a customer, and we told them it was going to take 4, 5, 6 weeks, and we were going to come out there once a week for this time frame to get control of this. And about halfway through it, they were tired of waiting. They were still seeing the roaches, which we told them they would, and they went with another company. And the company came in and they did their treatment, whatever that was, and it was like 2 months later, that individual called us back and said, hey, we paid all of this money and they didn't get rid of it like they said they would. It came back and we feel bad about calling them back out here because it just doesn't work. Can you come back out and take care of this? And so we did. And it took longer that second time, which we explained that to them, but they were more willing to be patient through that process. And so if you do decide to call CityTurf to take care of a roach infestation, first thing the technician is going to do is kind of give you an outline. Hey, this is what you're seeing. This is where you're at. Basis of what you've told me, we're going to set all these things in order and we'll come back and take care of this. And from there, this is what you're going to expect. This is how it's going to happen. And if you hire us or any other company, I would certainly ask, what is the process going to look like? What's it going to be like 2 weeks from now? What's it going to be like? Is this something in one day? Is this something in, for the next month and a half? You certainly want to be mindful of how that's going to impact you, your schedule, your family, and your kitchen and bathrooms and your home. How does it interact with your regular day-to-day living? And so this is how you control roaches. It is possible. And I want you to know that if you are having roaches, that it is possible to get those under control. And if you have any questions about anything that we talked about here today, if you have any questions about a treatment and the process and what you're seeing, don't hesitate to give us a call. And if there's another product that you think of that you've used and you know it works, drop it in the comments below. I'd be interested to look into those and to see what those responses are and to see what else works for controlling roaches.